The Monster Project combines three of the scariest creatures out there: a vampire, a demon, and a skinwalker. And right from the start, it looks like we're going to get our first encounter. This thing up on the roof, knocking our cameraman off. But don't worry, it was all just a skit, a movie made to go viral to make some money. Two friends, Devin and Jamal, make these YouTube videos to get attention, and then use the money to make more videos. But now, Devin wants more. He wants to make a whole monster movie. How does one start doing this? Why, by putting an ad on Craigslist, of course, looking for monsters to interview. Now, I don't know what world these guys live in, but somehow they start getting hits. The first being a skinwalker, which ends up going pretty well, and he agrees to be interviewed. That night, Devin takes Jamal home, and we meet his roommate, Brian. Brian has his own demons, that's for sure, being addicted to drugs in the past. But now he's 240 days sober and eager to start working again. We also meet Muriel, who has a history with Devin, and to put it lightly, she hates him. It's something about how they were dating and he just up and left her one day. I don't really know, and it's not that important. What is important is that they got another hit on their ad. This time a vampire, who agrees to do the interview in exchange for a vial of blood. Our third and final candidate comes that night when the guys are woken up at 3 a.m., someone pounding at the door. When they have a look, only a DVD lay on the ground. They watch it and see the demon-possessed Shiori, straight from The Grudge. And with that, we now have everything we need to film our monster project. The crew loads up and heads to a creepy house that will make the perfect backdrop for the film. There's even going to be a lunar eclipse tonight, so that's just the icing on the cake. After the grand tour, which, yeah, this place is the perfect creepy setting, we can get started. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's probably a bad idea to get three supernatural monsters together under one roof. And you would be right, but don't jump the gun just yet. First, they have to be interviewed. We start with the Skinwalker, whose name is Steven. There's nothing too interesting here, it's all the typical lore, that a skinwalker must kill someone they love to be able to shapeshift. He says that it's a painful transformation, but once you do, you lose the human side of you in favor of the beast within. Next up is Shayla, the vampire, who explains that, yes, she can go out in the sunlight, it just makes her feel like she's hungover. Towards the end of the interview, she gets under Brian's skin by saying drinking blood is like a drug, something that he's all too familiar with. In fact, he might be sneaking a couple pills right now. He's looking pretty guilty to me. After that outburst, we just have Shiori left. She explains that the demon that's possessing her has been with her entire life and makes her do all kinds of things she doesn't want to do. So far, so good. If I was filming these people, I wouldn't believe them either. I'd just think that they're all a bunch of whack jobs with crappy contact lenses who need a hair tie. But that all changes when the power cuts out. Muriel goes to flip the breaker, hearing something coming from the other room. The Skinwalker seeing the eclipse and starting to transform. In the main room, Shiori flies up in the air, and as they run around, yeah, it looks like the vampire's legit too. It's at this point, I would say, yeah, we're screwed. They can't really escape for one reason or another, and end up running around the house like chickens with their heads cut off. Until they realize that they're gonna have to fight. And the first monster they take on is Shayla the vampire, who's admittingly pretty easy. Just stab her with a wooden stake. Boom, she's dead. Although she did get a couple good shots in there, and sucking Muriel's blood. Next up is Shiori, and they head down into the basement, which just sounds like a bad idea to me, but what do I know? Brian tries to pray the demon away, which doesn't seem to work. Instead, it seems to get inside of his mind. But then it's also being recorded on his camera too? I don't know, but it's pretty cool. We see all of his druggy friends that apparently he killed by giving them a bad batch. I gotta admit, this is pretty scary. When he comes to, he can try to finish the prayer, which doesn't work. Instead, the demon, who goes by the name Baphomet, possesses Muriel. Then it's passed back to Shiori. You know, that innocent girl that did nothing wrong. Yep, they stab her to death. I guess they didn't really have that much of a choice, and thankfully it seems to kill the demon as well. By this point, Jamal's dead. Muriel turns into a vampire after being bitten, and Brian's forced to kill her. So it's just Devin and Brian left. Oh, yeah, and the Skinwalker, who's chased Brian outside. He ends up finding a cabin, and inside there's a bunch of cameras. What's going on here? Well, it turns out that this was all part of Devin's plan. He's a devil worshiper hell-bent on summoning the Antichrist. Everything that happened tonight, the murders, the eclipse, even the house, was necessary for the ritual. And the final piece of the puzzle is Brian's blood. And that was The Monster Project. As far as found footage goes, this is one of the better ones. The budget was $250,000, and I think most of that went into the effects, which is great. That's where the budget for all horror movies should go. They did some neat things with the camera gimmick. There's a part where Brian and Sheila fall through the floor, which did look pretty cool to see. But there is some light use of music and audio effects to drum up the atmosphere, which in a truly found footage movie, there's no such thing as a jump scare effect. Speaking of that, I really didn't like the demon jump scares. They just looked like something on a Snapchat filter, and they weren't really that scary. I do like the choice of monsters, specifically the Skinwalker, a monster that not everyone has heard of. I asked my wife, a normie who doesn't watch that many horror movies, and she didn't know what a Skinwalker was. It was nice to see and learn a little bit about each monster's lore. I actually think it was a missed opportunity to turn all the humans into these monsters, and it almost happened. Muriel turned into a vampire, and she even got possessed for a minute in the basement. I thought when Brian killed her, he would turn into a Skinwalker, as that's one of the things. You have to kill someone that you love to be able to transform. But that never happened. Also, I just gotta say, Jamal was rough. Everyone did a pretty decent job acting, the standout being Muriel, who freaked out when she was transforming. But Jamal was written to be the stereotypical black guy, and it got annoying pretty quick. Despite all that, I think The Monster Project is worth a watch. Dim those lights, it's best viewed in a dark room, and enjoy the great creature effects. I give it 3 vials of blood out of 4.